Hey Fundraiser, I'm Mary Petersen, and this is Hey Fundraiser, the podcast for development professionals who are done guessing and ready to build a major gift program that actually works. Every week, I bring you the tactics, the language, and the real-world strategy to close bigger gifts, deepen donor relationships, and lead with confidence. Whether you're a one-person shop or a seasoned major gift officer, if you're ready to stop hoping and start engineering, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey Fundraiser, I want you to picture two versions of yourself this fall. The first one is the week before Thanksgiving. You're staring at your year-end list. You've got donors you haven't really talked to maybe since the spring, and you're about to start cold calling people who are knee-deep in like turkey logistics and getting their grandkids into Halloween costumes. You can feel the panic rising. You know you're interrupting a busy time in their lives, and somewhere underneath it, you know you've waited too long. Or there's a second version. It's also the week before Thanksgiving, and you are calm because back in July, you sat on a porch with that donor, drank a glass of lemonade, took a walk, and the two of you mapped out exactly what the next 6 months were going to look like together. You both already know what's coming. Nobody's getting interrupted. Nobody's getting surprised. And the gift is already in motion. The difference between those two scenarios isn't luck. It isn't a bigger list. It's not all these things. It's what you do with donors this summer. So welcome back. My name's Mary, and I want to talk to you today about summer. It's not the slow season that everybody's like, oh, it's summer, donors are gone. And so we tell ourselves this narrative. No, summer is the secret weapon, fundraiser. So here's what most fundraisers get wrong. They kind of treat summer like a holding pattern. Donors are traveling, the office is quiet. So they tell themselves, and I've done this before, that, we'll get serious in the fall. And then the fall arrives so quickly with events and board reports. And then you're like, oh my gosh, year end is right around the corner. And then the calendars fills up like overnight, and you're trying to build relationships at the exact moment that we should be closing the gifts. So I want to flip that for you today because summer, hands down, the best relationship season of the entire year. Your donors are more relaxed than they'll be at any other point of the year. Like it's not holiday mode yet. Their guard is down in the best possible way. I don't mean that in a manipulative way, but they're just more relaxed. It's vibey. And the kind of cultivation you can do in July is more human. It's like the no agenda kind. And the cultivation actually moves people toward a gift. So today I'm going to give you two things. First, a handful of summer cultivation moves that are just genuinely fun and effective and different. Like set yourself apart from all those other fundraisers. And then secondly, I want to give you the single most useful conversation you can have with a donor all year. And it's what I call like mapping out the next 6 months. It's the thing that makes your whole rest of the year feel easy. So first, let me make the case for summer because I think that you've been taught to undervalue it. I had been taught to undervalue it. Think about who your donors actually are for a second. Many of them are successful, busy people. During the year, their calendars are armored. I mean, getting 30 minutes is like a full-blown negotiation. But in the summer, something softens ever so slightly. I mean, they're taking Fridays off. They're at the lake. They're in their t-shirts instead of suits. And the pace of their life changes a bit. And when the pace changes, the door opens for us. This is the season when a donor will actually say yes to the coffee. It's also the kind of season where they'll pick up the phone and then stay on it in conversation with you maybe a little longer than they'd meant to. When they'll invite you to see their garden or tell you about the trip they just took or talk about their grandkids for 20 minutes. And here's the thing I really need you to hear. That is not wasted time. That is the work. Major gifts are built on knowing people, like really knowing people. And summer hands you the relaxed, unhurried hours where real knowing happens. There's a reason this matters so much. When you only ever talk to a donor in the context of an ask, The relationship feels transactional, and transactional is what kind of kills major gifts. But when you spend an easy summer hour with someone with no agenda, just being a human who's genuinely interested in them, you're building the kind of trust that makes the eventual ask feel like the most natural thing in the world. By the time you ask, you're not a fundraiser just hitting them up one more time. You're a partner they actually want to do something with. So, I want you to stop thinking of summer as the season where nothing happens and start thinking of it as a season where everything quietly gets set up for a killer year end. The relationships you deepen in July and August are the gifts you close in October and November. You're not behind right now. You're standing at the most valuable moment of the year. So let's use it. Let me tell you about a donor who actually taught me this. So, many years ago, I had a prospect, wonderful woman, capacity for a major gift, and I'd been, air quotes, cultivating her for several months, the way all the books tell you to do it: quarterly updates, a nice lunch around the gala, polite professional conversations that actually went nowhere. And then one July, on a whim, instead of scheduling another lunch, I asked her if she wanted to walk the river path that was near her house, the next morning. She was like, "Yes, that sounds absolutely lovely. I've been meaning to do that." So we walked for an hour. She told me about her late husband, about why the cause had mattered so much to him, about what she hoped her money could actually do before she was gone. I didn't really ask for a thing. I just listened and walked, and we just had a lovely hour visit. That one walk did more than a year of my careful professional cultivation. And the gift came in later. A big one was pretty much decided on that walk. I'm convinced. Like something opened in her, something deepened. And it's not because I was clever or did anything special. It's because I finally let the relationship be human. And it was summer that gave me the opening to actually do that. So let's get specific because I never want to leave you with a nice idea and no instructions. So here are the best, most fun summer creative moves that I can think of. So, first one, instead of asking your donor out for a coffee, I want you to ask them out for a lemonade. I literally mean this. Not a formal lunch meeting where you're both performing, just something light like, "Hey, it's gorgeous outside. Do you want to go grab an iced tea on the patio this Thursday?" The casualness is the strategy, and you only get certain times of the year to do this. So when the setting is low stakes, people just relax, including you, fundraiser. And relaxed people tell you the truth about what they care about. You're going to learn more about that donor over a 20-minute lemonade or iced tea in July than you will in three very formal meeting settings that happen, in the fall. Okay, second idea is take a walk. This is also one of my favorites, and almost nobody does it. So invite a donor for a walk around the park, around your campus, along the water, like whatever's nice and near to you or near to them. There's something about walking side by side instead of sitting across a table that takes the pressure off. Sometimes that table is literally separates people, literally and figuratively. So people open up when they're moving, when they're not just making constant eye contact, when there's not a table sitting in between you. And bonus, if your organization has a physical place, right, a facility, a garden, a trail, a building, walking them through it lets them see the mission with their own eyes. And that's worth more than any brochure you will ever print in the history of your career. Okay, third fun idea is bring them into the mission while it's beautiful outside. Summer is when a lot of programs are at their most visible and most joyful. Day camps are running, gardens are blooming, events are outdoors. And if you've got something happening that a donor could come see in person on a beautiful day, invite them. Let them watch the kids, meet the staff, feel the thing they'd be funding. And you don't really even have to ask for anything. You're just letting them fall very casually and gently a little bit more in love with the work. Okay, fourth idea is send a no-ask summer note. Like drop a donor a handwritten note or a quick personal email with just zero agenda. Something like, I saw this and I thought of you. I hope you're having a wonderful summer with your family. Or like, wanted you to know the program you support is thriving. Here's a quick photo. No ask, just warmth. Like these land so much harder in the summer because no one else is doing it. Remember, everyone else goes quiet. You, fundraiser, are going to stay warm and stand out. Okay, and then fifth, I want you to use what summer naturally gives you. Did they just come back from a trip? I want you to ask about it. Are the kids home from college? I want you to ask about them by name. Is there a farmer's market, a concert series, a ball game or team that they love? I mean, these are real human openings and they're everywhere in the summer. Cultivation doesn't have to be a strategy session every time. Sometimes it's just being the person who remembered that their daughter is starting a new job and you wanted to call and see how it's going. Now, let me give you a sixth one because it's the most underused of all. I want you to host something tiny, not a gala, not an event with a capital E, like 4 or 5 donors in a backyard or on a patio with some good food and a summer evening. Like my whole philosophy, the one I wrote a book about called Small Table, Big Philanthropy, lives right here. You don't need a big room and a big production. You just need a small table, but the right people sitting around that table. And summer is the perfect season for it because people will say yes to a relaxed evening gathering when they'd never really say yes to another formal nonprofit event. So put a handful of your best people together and let them talk to each other. Let them feel the energy of being in a room of people who care about the same things they care about. Those summer small gatherings create a ton of momentum that events that like 10 times the size never could create. And here's a note on all of these suggestions, because I know that some of you are thinking, Mary, this feels like it's not the real work. Like I'm supposed to be producing. So I'm going to challenge you to reframe that. A walk with a major donor prospect is the work. An iced tea where you learn what truly moves someone is the work. We've been trained to think that fundraising only counts when it looks like effort, when it's a formal meeting with an agenda and maybe even a PowerPoint deck or a glossy brochure. But major gifts, those glossy brochures, those PowerPoint decks, they don't inspire major gifts. They they come from trust, and trust is built in exactly these easy, warm, human moments that summer hands you on a silver platter. So give yourself permission. The lemonade counts, the walk counts, the backyard dinner counts. These are not breaks from work. They're the highest leverage work you can do throughout the year. Hey, fundraiser, before you sign up for another fundraising conference where you might leave with a good tote bag but zero strategy to raise more money, let me invite you to Major Gift Momentum. This is my private coaching group where you'll get weekly coaching calls with me, access to my full Major Gift curriculum, and a community that's actually moving the needle. Major Gift Momentum isn't based in theory, it's based in action. Members are closing 5- and 6-figure gifts within 3 months of joining. Heather just closed a $245,000 gift. Jacelyn just closed a $212,000 campaign gift. And Georgette just got a $500,000 commitment. All within 3 months of joining Momentum. Each of these Momentum members didn't think the donor would give that much, but once I taught them my method, they are raising money at a whole new level. So would you like in, fundraiser? If you do, go to heyfundraiser.com/momentum and let's get started. Here's the through line on all these things. Lower the stakes, raise the warmth. The summer move is never, let's have a serious meeting. It's more like, let's enjoy a nice afternoon and let me get to know you a little better. And that's what moves the needle. So pick two of these and put them on your calendar this week. Now, I want to give you the centerpiece, the chef's kiss. This is the most useful conversation you can have with a donor all year. And summer is a really great time to have it. Here's the move. You're going to sit down with your prospect in another relaxed summer setting, and you're going to map out the next 6 months together. So let me tell you what I mean, because this is so simple and so powerful. I literally will call donors and say something like this: Maria, I'd love to treat you to a lemonade and sit down and just take a few minutes to look ahead with you, to map out the next 6 months. So that way we can just work the plan. And I'm not calling you for your year end gift, a few days after Thanksgiving. And I'm not, being in your life when you're trying to get your grandkids into their costumes for Halloween. And I'm not calling you during the Jewish high holidays and, things like this. And then you actually show up to that meeting with a map that you've prepared and you walk through it together. It should include a year-end gift. It should include participating in any events that are coming up in the fall. It could be that you want them to host a dinner this fall. It could be that you want them to come in and see a new program launch in September, like whatever it is. It should include, time, talent, and treasure. And it should be all the moves or all the things, the ways you want them to engage for the next 6 months. Now, here's why this changes everything. And it's really about the calendar. Think about what the back half of the year usually looks like with your donors. I mean, September and October bring the Jewish high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. I mean, families are gathering, people taking time away. Then there's Halloween. And if your donors have kids or grandkids, they are deep in costume logistics, class parties, and candy runs. And then look, Thanksgiving just swallows late November. And then December is holidays, like whatever they celebrate, plus the year-end push, plus everyone's trying to wrap up their own work before the new year. Your donors are not sitting around in November waiting to hear from you. They are slammed with the most personal, family-centered, emotional part of their entire year. And what do most fundraisers do? They wait until exactly then to start reaching out. Like, we don't want to interrupt Thanksgiving. We don't want to email someone when they're trying to get their 3 grandkids into superhero costumes. It just doesn't feel good for them. It doesn't feel good for us. And the gift kind of suffers. So my best advice is to sit down now with your donors and map out the next 6 months. Because when you map out those next 6 months here in the summer, you're going to solve all of that in advance. You and the donor decide together in July and August what the fall is going to look like. Like, you might even say, I know fall gets busy with the holidays, so let's get our real conversations on the calendar for early October before everything ramps up. Or would it be easier to handle this now in the summer so it's off your plate before all the family stuff starts? Let them tell you when they're actually having bandwidth. And almost always, they're going to appreciate it so much that you respected their life and their time. You become that fundraiser who gets it instead of the one that's always like interrupting and calling at the wrong time. And here's the quiet genius of it. When you map the next 6 months together, you essentially have gotten the donor to co-author the plan for their own giving. You're not chasing them throughout the holidays. You're not guessing when to follow up. You both already know what's coming and when. The ask when it comes, if it hasn't already happened when you plan out the summer, when you plan the summer for the rest of the year, it's something you've scheduled together on the back porch in July or August. There's no ambush, no awkward timing, no holiday interruption. It's the calmest, most respectful way to move toward a major gift that I know of. And I've had a lot of success with it. Okay, let me make this even more concrete because I want you to be able to picture the actual conversation. You're sitting with your donor on their back porch drinking lemonade, and you pull out a one pager. And honestly, you don't even need a one pager. But if you feel comfy doing that and it helps as a leave behind, then totally make it. But don't spend a ton of time on it. And you say, hey, Olivia, I want to talk to you about the next 6 months. Here's how I'm hoping that you'll engage. In September, we're having this very small, intimate dinner party at so and so's home. We would love for you and your partner to join us. In October, we're launching a new program, and I would love for you to come see it. Like, you've supported these things in the past, and this one is going to be knocked out of the park. So it's a half day in the afternoon after the kids get out of school. So let's go ahead and put that on the calendar. Also in October, we are having a board retreat, and we want to invite you because we're going to start talking about strategic planning, and we think you have an interesting take. So if the date's open, here's the date. And in November, we would like you to make a $10,000 year-end gift. That's it. So, and then you say to them, I wanted to walk through this with you before things go crazy. So tell me, looking at your own fall, does this work for you? What are the good windows? And when should I just not be in touch because you've got just family stuff going on? And then you listen. Like, maybe she says, well, September's a wash. We've got the high holidays and my whole family's in town. Great. Now you know. Maybe they say, honestly, October's wide open, but once Halloween hits, I'm really useless until January. Like, the grandkids run my life. Wonderful. Now you know. You just got the donor to hand you the exact map of when to show up and when to stay out of the way. Do you know how rare and how appreciated that is? Because fundraisers never do this. I mean, nobody in their life does this. They just lob emails into the void and kind of hope. And I'm not talking just us in the nonprofit sector. I'm talking about so many other things in their life that just are compounded during the last 3-4 months of the year. So you're going to be the one that actually plans around their life. So this summer, I want you to pick 10 prospects and have that 6-month conversation with them. And it doesn't even have to be 6 months. I mean, you could sit down in August and say, I just want to map out the rest of the year with you. Like, look ahead together and find those moments that work for them. Protect their holidays by design. It will make your entire fall easier. And then you just work the plan. And really, it's the kind of partner that donors want to have. So you're just going to set yourself apart. I do have another podcast on this now that I think about it. It's called Ask Once and Thank for 364 Days. It literally is my most popular episode. And this is kind of a form of that. We're asking once and then thanking for half the year. But you don't have to chase your prospects around. So some of you might be thinking, okay, Mary, this is lovely. This all sounds great. But at what point does lemonade turn into a gift? And how do I know when the relationship is actually ready for that? So let's talk about that. Because warmth without direction is really just being friendly, and you don't want to be friend zoned. So here's how you know a donor's ready. They start asking deeper questions. They want to know how things really work, where the gaps are, what you're worried about, or what the executive director's worried about. They start using words like we instead of you, as in, what are we going to do about that? And they show up, they follow through, they tell you things like, making that gift made me feel good. Those are the signals. And summer, because it gives you so much unhurried time together, is when those signals get louder and you can actually start to notice them. And when you see them, there's just a simple bridge. There's one question that turns a warm summer relationship into a real conversation about a gift without it ever feeling abrupt. You're going to say, Sarah, would you be open to talking about a more significant role in the work? Like, could I bring back to you a map of what the rest of the year looks like for your reaction? So it's very gentle. I mean, would you be open is permission based. You're not pouncing, you're literally asking if they're willing. Talk about means that you're going to have a conversation, not just a one shot ask that they have to answer on the spot. And when you say things like a more significant role, it's just honest and it's inviting them to be honest. It tells them this is about stepping up without just slapping a number on the table before anybody's ready. If they say yes, you have got your opening, and that's when you put your 6-month map together or the rest of the year, and it becomes your roadmap to the ask. Now, if they say something like, well, tell me more about what you mean, that's not a no, that's an invitation to keep talking and going deep. So at that point, you're going to say, hey, I want to map out the next 6 months when it comes to your time, when it comes to your giving, when it's, how you lean in, like all of these things. Believe me, they are going to be so appreciative. Okay, so summer gives you that relationship. These are the things that help you get closer to a gift. And listen, if the words themselves are what scare you, the actual language of asking, that's why I wrote What to Say 12 Major Gift Scripts to Get a Yes. Because you shouldn't have to improvise like the most important sentence of the year with this person. But the relationship that makes those words land, that's what you're building right now here in the summer. Okay, so I want to zoom out for just a second and name something because I think a lot of you feel it and don't say it. Every fall, the season kind of happens to you. It arrives, well, it did for me. It arrives like a wave, and then you spend September through December like reacting to the board who's all of a sudden engaged, reacting to a campaign that needs to be launched, reacting to the calendar that all of a sudden is filled up. And then it feels like everything's on fire. Like you turn into like a professional firefighter. And your major gift donors, like the people who could genuinely change what's possible for you and your mission, get whatever attention is left over. And I spent way too many years doing that. What I'm describing is how to stop letting the fall happen to you. You get ahead of it in the summer while you actually have room to think and breathe. You do the relationship work, you make the plan so that when that wave comes, and it's going to come, fundraiser, that you're not scrambling. You're executing something that you've already designed with the people who already know it's coming. Because guess what? They have a wave coming too. The fundraisers who close big at year end, they don't have some sort of special skill or gift. They're not luckier than you. They did the warm, human, unhurried work in July and August that everyone else puts off until October. They went on the walks, they had the lemonade, they mapped out the next 6 months, and then they got to spend the busy season calm, cool, and collected because the foundation was already poured and cured and ready to walk on. That can be you. And it starts with deciding that the summer is not your slow season. It's so important. Okay, I want to give you one more concrete thing to do because that's how we roll on this show. So here's your summer challenge. Before Labor Day, I want you to do 2 things. 1, have 5 relaxed summer cultivation moves with 5 donors. A lemonade, a walk, a no agenda note, an invitation to see the mission on a beautiful day. I mean, whatever you want to do, but I want you to do 5 of them. And they should be real, warm, and low stakes. Just get the time on the calendar and show up as a human. 2, have 5 6-month mapping conversations with your top prospects. Like sit down, look ahead together, protect their fall holidays on purpose so you're not chasing anybody through Thanksgiving and Rosh Hashanah and Halloween, and let them help you plan when the real conversation might happen or it could happen then. That's it. Those are the 2 things I want you to do. 5 relaxed summer touches and 5 what the rest of the year looks like with donors. Okay. And if you do it, I promise you, your fall is going to feel different. It's going to be easier and your shoulders are going to stop touching your ears and relax, like all the things. Okay. So when this episode ends, don't open a spreadsheet. Don't make a strategy document. Just pick a donor you actually want to close by year end. Text or email them to grab a lemonade or take a walk this week. Just start there and the momentum will build, I promise. And if you want a community of fundraisers doing exactly this kind of work with real coaching, real scripts, and real people who get what your week looks like, that's what Major Gift Momentum is. This is the work that we do together at every meeting. And it's open whenever you're ready. So just head over to heyfundraiser.com and you can join. Okay, fundraiser, go enjoy your summer. Bring your donors along with that enjoyment of the summer. The lemonade you share now is the gift that will close in November. Okay, fundraiser, I'll see you next week. Fundraiser, thank you for being here. This work you do, it matters. You are the bridge between generosity and impact, and don't let anyone, including the hard weeks, convince you otherwise. If today's episode gave you something useful, please pass it along. One share, one text to a colleague, one review on Apple Podcasts. That's how this show reaches the people who need it most. Come find me at heyfundraiser.com, and I'll see you next Friday.